I was recently called an Amish hippie. And I had to correct him. I said it's more like a Mennonite hippie. I like electricity. I don't mind riding in the car. I love horses, but I would love to have a horse, but I would have a car and a motorcycle and a mini bike and electric scooter to get around and do my ministry things. Welcome everybody to Mud Flood Was Armageddon. Not some cataclysmic event like Conspiracy RS likes to call it. He learned about it being called Mud Flood Was Armageddon. No, actually, he learned about it when it was Flat Earth Nation Golden Age past. And he referred to my channel a lot when he was like, oh my goodness, this was 2019. And also later that year, I think he brought out the, oh my goodness, and now look at the Nephilim were clowns. That could have been my fault. I used to refer until this whole Nephilim clown thing came up that brought out the hagiography and the sleeper cells. I thought the Titans were the Nephilim. I called them Nephilim. I realize now they're Titans. As the veil was slowly being lifted and the stones were crying out, I went with, I didn't understand the council in heaven, the Elohim that ruled. They were real gods. And Jesus was the one who created them because there was a sin in heaven and they thought they could do better. They thought it would be better if the one that walked among the fiery stones, that would be Lucifer, was in charge. And he said, you know, it would be better if I was in charge. The first sin was in heaven. The Most High God Spirit identifies as Father to model family. The son that serves is the son who is rewarded. The son is what he portrayed on earth, how you honor family, not LGBTQ fake art nonsense. Now, we're going to get into these things and show the hagiographies and how this is new, but it's true. And you better get on board with that. It was Mud Flood was Armageddon. And a part of that is that the stones are crying out. They're reserved in judgment. You can't just pick any old globe map and say, look, a magnetic stone, I'm going to the North Pole. Here's a disclaimer. Well, I don't see it, but I know where it is. There it is. I have a lot of pictures. I'm not sure how, I have pictures I want to go over later about the new Epstein list with all the, distraction names. 33 million ounces of silver added in one day. There's not enough. Hmm. Yep. You can't put women in charge if they're equally as bad. This sunstone, I just bought a replica of it and I didn't know that, it's on the side too. So it was interesting. I have a lot on that. I want to go over those later. The sleeper cell stuff. Let's see. So that'd be the last one. Maybe we'll have time to look at that. I have this line to show you that it is right in the center of where their dot is lined up. But like, and it goes through the center of the tongue. It's a model of the eyeball. It is a clock Earth is an eyeball. People instead eagerly turn to the ideas of Keynes. He's an open homosexual. Fisher's debt deflation scenario has seen a revival since the 1980s. Look at him he thinks he's making a globe. He's such a genius. He's our new modern guy. He was also a eugenic racist, Race Betterment Foundation. He's the one that let us go bankrupt in 1929. He was also, this is Erwin Fisher, the Skull and Bone Society. Oh man, I think I heard RJ. Maybe RJ's available. I went a little bit late tonight. No, it's Faith is Fire. Faith is Fire. You got to turn your close out what you were watching on YouTube. Close what you're watching on YouTube so that you're only in the studio, and then I can add you to the stage without the echo. You got that? How are you doing? What do you got? You understand, you have to turn off the channel that you were watching YouTube on. You have to close it out. If you're in the studio, you can't have that other tab open or it's going to echo. I'm going to give you a couple more chances. You can hang around, but I'm going to keep going, man. Have you removed it? Faith is Fire. Well, you keep trying there. You're not echoing, but I got to keep going, man. These, I was looking at the pictures. The Nephilims are clown. Now, so because he put this out today, Satan's little sleeper cell, present or future. This, I believe, is, maybe that's not the one, but he put out something about a sleeper cell today. Little season sleeper cell. Yeah, this is it. And he doesn't like this particular globe model, and neither do I. I think that the center of the flat earth is Africa, where Jerusalem is. Conspiracy RS put out this little season. He shows, we went over this a couple of weeks ago. Didn't want to touch that. Didn't even notice it was 666 when I was watching it. When I got that screenshot, I showed these videos. Was calling this out last week. I'm glad you started this. I don't know if that's the right one or not, but sleeper cells and Satan's little season. I'm going to give them, nobody intentionally starts a cult, but I thought they were called Nephilim. We are all learning, but now, Conspiracy RS, what that cataclysmic event was. It was Mud Flood was Armageddon. I have gone out of my way to prove scripturally Nephilim is only used 3 times. It means tall people. Gibborim is used 1,000 times, 990 times. It's the good guys. Gibborim are the mighty men of God. God even calls himself the Gibborim God. He is the mighty God. It doesn't have anything to do with the nonsense that they're trying to sell you. I heard another pop. It's not RJ, it's Faith is Fire. Hey, you turned off
Hi.
the other thing. What do you got going?
I'm trying to figure it out.
Hey, Zach Mack and Nudo. Heard you got some snow. Looking forward to getting up there, not only to do some skiing, but to say hi and how you doing. So, how long you been a part of this short season type thing?
It's been over a year. Over a year.
So it's
How are
really
you,
not.
Pinko?
It's really not that long. How were you drawn to it?
I have this right behind me that I found outside, and it's an old millennial rain paint. It's a negative.
It is a pretty spectacular picture of an old mud flood bridge in a probably the Dark Ages, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I haven't seen you in my comment sections. It was probably the thumbnail. I don't really try to do. I don't have the time for those thumbnails all the time. But is that what brought you here?
Well, it just a couple of things that led me on the right path and just taking the Bible. There's terrible delay.
Are we lagging on your end? Because you were
Yeah.
sounding okay, because it wasn't doing that earlier. Now you hold on. I'll come back to you later, okay? If you want to watch, you can watch from in here, but I got to keep rolling, okay?
Yes. Keep it
So,
up.
all right. So there were the pictures. We have shown the disclaimer. Here's a little bit of 11 of that 10 months ago, because that's the deal. I in community attempting some of the same things attempted months earlier. Let's investigate.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. Today we're going to be talking about sleeper cells within the Little Season community.
Okay, so it's about the hagiographies. It's the eschatology, the study of the end times, the millennial. The original name of my first channel that I started in 2016 when I was going to propose that Revelation 19 and 20 proved that we've been reading the Bible wrong and we should think. I called it Flat Earth Nation de Area Patrita, which means Golden Age millennium is over. And by calling it Patra millennia, it was ruled with the rod of iron, because most people forget that the Golden Age was ruled with a rod of iron, because people are going to be people. He gets into it. There it is.
One of them was this individual here, top left, who went by the name
Well, I
Crypto
wasn't
Grady,
sharing.
and he showed up at one point on this channel, Understanding
Hold
Conspiracy,
on. I wasn't
and very much
sharing. I
in
found
favor.
the video. I got it. It looks like, and you know what? I hope that there was another person that just popped on. Did you see him? Did you see him, Faith is Fire? There was somebody else that I heard him click on, and then he clicked
Nope.
right off. See him, Faith is Fire? Oh, we do
Nope.
have
Not
quite
yet.
a delay. Well, I saw him. Hold on there. We'll get it back. So it's the little season time. I wasn't sharing the screen. I was showing this video last couple seconds, you know, the eschatology thing. I was looking at this, and then, hey,
At least according to some people's perspective, it didn't seem like this was organic, and there were some characters that kept popping up. And one of
you never mentioned Paul Stubbs. This is the character that you promoted, Conspiracy RS. You could, I think I've got a thing here. That's for the economics after I get done with this stuff. Mud flood was Armageddon. So where is that? Anyway, I've got one of them pulled up where 10 different videos were made by Conspiracy R Us
a deeper dive
about the little season. And you did it. You're the one that introduced the Nephilims were clown. Hey, look, Paul Stubbs has the Nephilims were clown thing.
very deliberate. So he was around during this time, and we're talking over 10 months ago. Now, more recently, as of the recording of this video, he has the channel still, but it's not called Crypto Grady anymore. It's just Grady, and the full handle is Time is Short Grady. But he's promoting meetups again. And here's one advertisement for this little season meetup that's going to be in April of 2026. Here's another video where they're talking about this meetup, and we're going to get into this guy a little bit, Tyler Woods. But so this Grady character,
And all of these people believe in the Nephilim blood, the Gibborim, maybe there's somebody at the North Pole. We could take a boat up there. That came from Paul Stoops and that whole situation. I called them Nephilim. You went with it a lot more than I did. I was making videos by the end of 2019 saying Nephilim are human too. They could be saved. You could have witnessed to Goliath. Most of the Nephilim got their butts kicked by the humans because they were simply tall humans. Let's see where they're going with this one. Go ahead there.
They have. I'm feeling better now. I'm feeling like I can actually do this. I'm sorry if I'm a bit bunged up for my audio only out there. Maybe this makes my voice sound a little bit more sultry, a bit deeper, a bit more ASMR in nature. So
what does that mean?
something comes up every now and then and blocks the wind at high altitude, and then descends every now and then and becomes a hole in the ground that sucks in the wind instead. And it was under this pretext.
I don't know what is going on here. You're going to talk about hagiography?
I've given my opinion and thoughts on all of it at the start of this. You already knew what mine were to begin with. And hopefully this explains why the documents went missing, your reasonings, which are totally valid. And obviously people can still access the documents if they want to, because everyone took a copy anyway and saved them and have been sharing them in the Telegram group, which links are in the description down below. He makes truthers lie down in green pastures. Further by these, son be admonished of making many books.
Let's see what else we have here.
Like the Rupus Negra, the black rock, and it's got those
The Mercator map.
Is that the one where it's got the like four square chunks?
Yeah.
And it's got the cross river.
I think it's just showing me terrariums right now when I try and put in the actual thing. But the map he's referencing is in there. It's the Atlas Mutationist Terrarium.
Yeah, but I think he's talking about the Mercator map shows the
four
North Pole with the four rivers.
So, he's talking about the Mercator map that everybody loves. We got a charismatic person that supports demon chasers. That guy, is that his name? The demon eraser, the demon chaser? To me, it's like Candace Owen. Well, she likes Charlie Kirk. She's a Roman Catholic. She likes Mormons. No, there is a very narrow road. If the righteous scarcely be saved, what chance have those who intentionally missed the mark?
And 4 islands in the Rupus Negra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one, the Black Rock.
So there is, hagiographies. It's their rock. And people love to hear about the Nephilim blood.
15 meters of sediment. It's like, yes, it fell pretty badly. And it's like, how did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
They don't even try to, like I said, they don't even try to explain it. Don't even try.
Well, the narrative would fall apart.
It would be very easy for people to just simply get on board and say the mud flood was the Armageddon. Here's what I had to say about it a year ago. Big, tall, powerful person, a giant, somebody bigger than most. And before the flood, there were big, tall, powerful people. After the flood, big, powerful people. They became David's mighty men. They became the people like Joshua, who went in and did it. They be mighty. Our God, the Most High God, uses it that He is the Givarim El Elyon. If somebody doesn't think that the Most High doesn't call Himself a Givarim, let's bet our eternal salvation. I know He does. He is the great and mighty God. Gibborim doesn't mean they got bad blood. Let me run it down point blank. The reason people want there to be Nephilim blood, quoting Rob Skiba and Zim Garcia and others, is because The God of the Old Testament is a genocidal maniac that killed people simply because they wouldn't follow his rules. Right, right. And they would have led his people astray. That's what the Bible teaches. It doesn't teach that he killed them because they had bad blood. No, humans have the bad. We're the icky. We're the yucky. We're the sin people that will. The Bible talks about some women in Isaiah that are so dainty, they won't even step in mud. 6 months later, they were hiding a placenta from their husband so they could eat it in private. Don't tell me about people. Have you read the Bible? Oh, but the Nephilim are so clown like, fighting evil flesh spirits. Is that why Abraham, a farmer, could go kick Og of Bashan's butt? He was one of them, right? No, you're wrong. It's not the Nephilim. That's not why he did it. Bad women could be tempted by Barak and Balaam to go and tempt the righteous people and say, would you like to stick it in my you know what? How about, we could just do these things and you won't even get me pregnant. And they did it. They went for it. God knew you had to stop that. That can't be around. He didn't say, settle in this area. Don't let those people in. You're taking it over. And now go keep killing them. No, they had their area. God divided the nations among those titans. And how close is the fight in the book? It has the end written from the beginning, but you're living through a mess right now. How long did it take Michael the archangel to get the message to Daniel it's going to be okay? Well, the spirit of that Persian thing withheld him for 6 weeks. But when he got there, it was like, hey, no problem. It's going to be good. You just keep it up. It's going to be sealed until the end. The end is written from the beginning. They think they're winning. They think they've already won. We will be rescued by fire. We know we got to run and hide. We're not going to draw a line in the sand to go fight robot dogs. Get out of here. Get out of here with that nonsense. So that was 10 months ago. What else was I going on yapping about? He is God of gods. Nephilim Gibberim doesn't mean what this man and the other demon possessed click happy. Oh, I found a way to make a living off of what God has shown. The ministry of flat earth nation, golden age past, mud flood was Armageddon. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not trying to sell you a book. I'm trying to let you know that if you're I basically, the whole thing is you can't go into this wanting to make money. It's the love of the money is the root of all evil. These guys start their short season things, get a few clicks, and start selling T-shirts, man. Message here too. The modern clown. Let's see when I get to any Bible parts.
I thought people were actually interested in history and trying to find the truth. But after a couple of interactions
that they have done for their gods. And so you would sin against Lord, the only real true God. They're gonna kill him. That's why. I'm asking you for 5 minutes because I don't know where this is going either. It wasn't because they had Nephilim blood. This is what people don't like. They think, oh, I can't do that. No, that couldn't happen. So we'll think of another way. Deuteronomy 20, verse 10. When you draw near to a city to fight against it, offer terms of peace to it. Now, this is the way it normally goes. And if it responds to you peacefully and it opens to you, then all the people who are found in it shall do forced labor for you and shall serve you. But you don't whip them, you don't kill them, you don't rape them. That's not in the Bible. But if it makes no peace with you, but makes war against you, then you shall besiege it. And when the Lord your God gives it into your hand, you shall put all its males to the sword. Holy cow. But the women and the little ones, the livestock, everything else in the city, all its spoil, you shall take as plunder for yourself. Now, that's not going to be the way it always is. There was a time, and the way the Lord has shown me and the way I wrote it down and described it the other day. Olaf, I'm so happy to see you. Good to see you. Was that now I got distracted, Victoria. Anyway, God was going to represent it as a son and a family. What was I just listening to? Anyway, it'll come back to me, I know. Well, we had that. Was this verse 16? But in the cities of these people that the Lord your God is giving you for an inheritance, you shall save alive nothing that breathes, but you shall devote them to complete destruction. All these. In that area that is your inheritance, that they may not teach you to do according to all their abominable practices. Okay, I'm going to emphasize that part. It's not because they had Nephilim blood. You are doing this so that your daughters won't see how whores act. They want to be able, honestly, they want to be able to show signs of their virginity on the day after their marriage and save it. In case everybody says that wasn't a virgin I married. Oh yeah? It would have been a disgrace to the whole village had not they come out and said, look at the signs of my virginity, and hold up. You know us what type of stain. This was the village's desire, that they would not be put to shame. Now, you just don't do it. You tell them, you go in, you got to go. That's how it is. Here's what it was when I got distracted by Victoria. I have been teaching for like 3 weeks now. I believe the Hebrew people were the sea people who crossed the Red Sea, took everything over. God said, this is your payment. They're bad anyway. This is your payment for being held slaves and making the bricks for 400 years so that they could rebuild after Noah's flood. The chosen people did that. They were brick making that's a long time, 400 years. Think about it. Like 9/11, 2001, that seems like a long time ago. That's not 400 years. So that's what I'm going with. That was why God said, you didn't have a land, you're coming out, you're the sea people. It's their payment because they were slaves. Oh, okay. Let's try it one more time. Are you having fun? Hey, why are you not showing up? There you are. Say something. Huh. Your mic is open. Oh well. There was constant feedback. Try another time. Blessings in the chat now. You know, you can't see it, but I'm clicking on it, and it's not letting you in. I'm going to remove you. Try to rejoin again, okay? Just hit it again. Oh, wait. Okay, it took us. You still got a delay. It took like 2 seconds for it to click off. Let's get back to the Bible study. I'll hear it if she clicks on. See how it's going here. So we got that. This guy, you know, him, Conspiracy R Us, 114,000 subscribers, always talking about some strange, unknown cataclysmic disaster. You used to quote my stuff.
Them
Was it the Trinity? Was bitching the Trinity? Was my exposing the Trinity? Was that too much?
this individual here, top left, who went by the name Crypto Grady, and he showed up talking about these hagiographies, which again may be bogus. Here's that Grady guy.
They're
So again,
bogus.
it's the same playbook. And why would you do this? Why would you try to introduce something that might not be legitimate? It's, I believe, to potentially discredit the entire movement, because
like the introduction. I think what did Paul Stoops have even a 2,000 subscribers when you started propping him up? I'm talking to Conspiracy R Us. Now he's the guy. He's everywhere. He's a book writer. He said he sold 5,000 books. That's more than the Hillary Clinton and everything. So we may come back to this if we have questions. I don't want to miss the chance to, you know, he's out of order, but we'll go with Leonhard Sapola. You know, forget Balto. I guess the 1925 serum run would have never done it without this guy. All a part of mainstream history around the world. They made a recent Disney movie about him. Somehow ended up there in the, you know, probably from the gold rush that they faked with. You know, started training dogs, and dogs are easy to, what's the word? Admire the dogs. But they're claiming, you know, the whole thing is everybody would have died if they didn't get this antitoxin. You know, to Nome, isn't that the capital in the middle of nowhere? It is. So I was going to do a little bit about this and try to, you know, I even had the thing pulled up about you know, how far they had to go. And, you know, I wasn't going to try to knock Balto, but I guess this other dog, Togo, was the real hero. There he is. Look at that guy. And they made a movie, and they had the Goblin, that guy that's so weird, play him. He can look normal when he wants to. Look at that. And, you know, the world, is this how you sell the world? What would we do without the antitoxins, the medical supplies? You know, this is a few years after they were dropping mustard gas on each other. But that seems like a distraction now. I wanted to talk about the guy in the Skull and Bone Society and the difference. You see, well, they seem to think, although he had a revival in the 80s, oh my goodness, it's like looking in a mirror. That he did it on purpose, this Skull and Bones guy, and he was talking up the stock market all the way until it crashed. And everybody was broke. There he is as a young man. He's looks like a real, not a flat earther. Utility theory, general equilibrium, monetaryism, debt deflation. Was perhaps the first celebrity economist, but his reputation during his lifetime was irreparably harmed by his public statements only 9 days. Just means it just happened, or it was a just decision from a court or God. This is something to make people detach what words really mean. Only 9 days before the Wall Street crash, he reached a permanently high plateau and basically was saying bye, bye, bye. But later on, the homosexuals won out. It was illegal, but he was so smart and such a good economist, they said they just let it go, that he was breaking the law breaking the law by kneeling and bobbing. So he did this all. I heard, let's see. Now, go ahead and say something, and I don't hear an echo. Uh-oh. There must still be a
Oh,
delay.
I was going to show you something. This is what's going on all over the place.
Do you know how to share the
Beloved
screen?
brothers and sisters, be steadfast and immovable. Do not lose your faith. I have a lot of people that are like, well, if you would just dig into Satan's little season, you realize that tribulation, the rapture, Jesus' 1,000-year reign has already happened, and we're all just stuck here. Right? We're just stuck on earth doing like, you don't think there would be anything that would have indicated that? Friends and family, that is New Age teaching. That is the Kabbalist seeping in. That is the confusion. And people who believe in Satan's little season, it's almost like they're in a cult, because they're like, I have this secret knowledge that nobody else knows, right? I've interpreted the Bible in a way that nobody else could interpret it. There's a reason. Eschatology in the Bible, the timeline is pretty firm. There have been thousands upon thousands of men and women who have studied the Bible their whole life, their timelines their whole life. Now, I know there's nothing more fun than finding some new thing on a video at 3 o'clock in the morning. But I don't serve a God of confusion. Listen to me. My God told me to be like the farmer who in the fall and spring waits on the rain, who waits and watches for the fruit to bear.
Okay, give it a break here. Pause that for a second. I want to get that. Now,
Jesus is coming back. And that's what I'm going to do. You can have your beliefs.
Pause that for a second.
There we go.
Now, is that the girl that has been doing a lot of the Charlie Kirk stuff? Because I think I recognize her.
Yeah. Starkey Farmstead,
Right,
I think is the name of the.
right. She's recently.
Yeah, Starkey Farmstead. I was
Yeah.
shocked because I don't know her so much, but today she just came out with that.
Well, that is part of their whole situation. If you look at the people that are exposing the travesty, craziness of Charlie Kirk's, whatever that was, false flag, psyop, they're fine with their Christianity being charismatic, Mormon, Roman Catholic. They're all cool with that. Barron is cool with it. Candace is super promoting it. Starkey is probably going to turn Roman Catholic too. All of a sudden, we're not talking about pedophile priests anymore and the evils of Rome that has ruled our minds for decades. We're talking about what? The other version of it. The people that they brainwashed and tricked into, you get somebody, let's just say Stephen Hawking's or that Larry Sumner's or the Waxman. These guys are not going to, as they say, be scoring chicks. They're going to see people that look like the movie stars scoring chicks left and right, and other people that know how to talk and be nice that have girlfriends, but they don't. So when they have a chance, like somebody like Epstein, like, you want your dreams to come true? They already know what their dreams are. It's not like we didn't have our own MK Ultra torture thing studying psyops for years. After the war, we basically pardoned the Germans so that we could get every document they did on their twin studies, boiling people in acid. We bought the information and pardoned everybody from Unit 727, I believe it was called, in Japan, where they tortured all of the whoever they tortured. None of them went to jail. They were all forgiven. We get their information. Paperclip. The fact that racism, that the Black Lives Matter was such a big deal, was because it wasn't that we had a few white only drinking fountains. This country had race laws that said, if you're black, you can't be the star of a movie. You can't play baseball with white people. If you're black and you're on a train, you better be dressed as the porter and let everybody call you Charles. And that didn't change until what they claimed was World War II. Everything is about the faith math, the fake math. Something about World War I doesn't add up. That could have been Armageddon. They fly over, they do this and that, and all of a sudden, after 1958 and the 1958 National Defense Education Act, the act of Congress that brought in DARPA and NASA in the same educational bill, claimed, did you ever see this? No, you're new to my show, but I also am the only one in the world that you can see my screen. I can click over here, pull up this statute. Oh, I need to share the screen, so I need to cancel that and go to another screen. Do that same.
I'm not new anyways. I've been watching you for a while.
But have you seen
Almost
this?
here.
This is that act of Congress, the National Defense Education Act.
Let's see.
This is when they started teaching that it's a globe. And everybody had to go along, if you wanted payment. Now, let's see, what page is 1004 on? Doesn't it say what page it is? So anyway, I've got to go all the way down to Title 10. I think it's... Did it say what page? Uh-oh, I heard an echo come back. So here we go. This is where it gets down to the fine print. And it says, no state plan submitted is going to be approved or get some money for any federal funds unless, let's see, where is that son of a gun? It says that you have to swear an oath that you don't believe the United States has been taken over. So anyway, I'll go all the way down to title. But where is it? I hate that I don't have a picture of it. You have to say, file an affidavit. If you want it, no part of any funds appropriated shall be.
Is it where four members from such fields of endeavor?
Well, if you wanted to get paid anytime after 1958 Educational Act, you have to execute and file with the commissioner an affidavit that he does not believe in and is not a member of and does not support any organization that believes in or teaches the overthrow of the United States government by force or violence, or by any illegal or unconstitutional methods. And two, you have to solemnly swear, affirm that you're going to bear true faith and allegiance to the United States of America and will support and defend them if you're drafted. You're going to defend that Constitution to your death against all its enemies. That only leaves us with an option here, Faith, that they overthrew the government by a legal and constitutional manner, because it's changed. They added God to the Constitution, and they enforced it being said every day. There's something to that. That happened. There was another guy. Okay, I'm looking down here. Like when I look at the bottom of Irving's plate, it'll say things like member of the Skull and Bones, of the Philosophical Society, the eugenics people. That's him. That's not this guy, Roger. What's the good nickname for those guys that are Rogers? Is it Roger? Something like that. I never understood why they called, people that are named John Jack. I never got
I can't
that.
believe it says members of the Skull and Bones right there at the bottom.
Yeah, right there. Want to see who they are? Oh my goodness. There's only 305 pages or 200 pages. So anyway, can't be that many. I always look through here and see if there's any hates or Hugheses, because people like RJ and I who have that weird H name, with the GH, but we're not there. We weren't invited. Although a lot of people in our family are pretty famous, there is a Blaine.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I want to introduce people to this guy. He doesn't get that. He had his own college. He was a member of the Prohibition Party. He did go to MIT, but this is the guy. My goodness, it's like looking in a mirror. Look at that. Free trade, free land, free men. Keep out of debt. That's what he carved out the rocks at his college. He predicted the Wall Street crash. It got 45 days before it happened. He goes, get out of debt, cancel all your margin. They ridiculed him. They said, hey, what did it say? Wise are those investors who now get out of debt and reef their sails, trim their sails. But the Great Depression soon followed. But the other guy was like a Pied Piper. Be wary of new promotions. Don't buy without proper facts. I always think that
Andrew's pitchfork.
what is that? Yeah, I never saw. I was thinking about finding out what the heck that was about, but I'm kind of pressed on time and stuff. But it was planned. It's avoidable. You stay out of debt. But some people, they will never do that. I got a lot going on here. Here's what I think got me involved in looking that
a
up.
lens, a way of looking at 5 specific factors that the rest of the world chose to ignore. The first sign is always the same. It's the credit explosion. It starts with debt, but not the kind of debt that builds a business. It's debt used to buy assets that are already getting dollars. We are looking at the height of different trees. A fragile market is a forest where only 7 trees are holding up the entire canopy. In 1929, everyone was obsessed with glamour stocks like Radio Corporation of America. In 2000, it was Cisco and Microsoft. Today, the top 7 stocks in the S&P no floor. This leads us to the most quiet and perhaps most chilling stage of the pattern, the smart money exit. Before a crash, the big players, the ones with the best data, start to
look at people. Just don't think of money like I used to, like it's Bigfoot, something that you've heard about but you never see. there really is something
At
called
this point, the
money.
market enters the fourth stage, the liquidity illusion. This is the most dangerous part because on the surface, everything looks normal. Prices are stable, trading volume is healthy.
Here's a question. What would you do, Faith, if you sold, let's say you had 100 ounces of silver and you sold it and you put it in the bank and the 5G quit working? Wouldn't that stink? I think people are going to have that problem. Not you, but I know I don't have
to
100.
leak. When liquidity disappears, prices don't adjust gradually, they free fall. So where does that leave us?
I don't know.
If you look at the checklist, stage 1, 2, 3, and 4 are already confirmed. The credit is maxed out. The risk is concentrated in a handful of tech giants.
These computers.
The only thing left is stage 5, the trigger. The trigger is the most frustrating part because it's impossible to predict. In 1929, it was a fraud case in Britain that forced banks to sell their American stocks.
I don't know. Maybe the trigger is people are going to find out that Hillary Clinton's emails got her hooked up with this crazy world of adrenochrome people, that this whole Alice in Wonderland thing.
The Epstein files has just implicated multiple brands and companies that insinuates potential nefarious connections. And this will be a little bit different than my usual spiritual excavation onto symbolism and aesthetics, as I believe a huge percentage of funding behind the evil we've been seeing this month has been revealed through Apollo Global Management. But I'll get into that in a few. But just to get the ball rolling here, some brands.
All right, I'm not
for the majority of basic slop consuming shit. They've totally hijacked and stolen what God has granted us, children of Him. Like there's art for Goyim, art for the chosen. And art for the Gentiles comes in the form of secularized music and uninspiring movies and bingeable that has nothing deep or.
Yeah, it's a messed up world. Yeah, I can't believe that Flat Earth Banjo can do a live show.
It is messed up.
I mean, and he's got no thumbs up, no viewers, and I was the only one watching.
Reached Madagascar. That's the impact and the force of it.
You know,
It's it and David White.
I mean, Flat Earth should still be a thing. He did end up getting 17 views, but you know, the whole NASA life things, that should still be a thing in my world. Zach Mack sent me this video. There are people out there that are doing theology. You might want to push your microphone back a little bit.
Quake at him. So there's the earthquake, and the hills melt. So the Lord fire burns the earth, and the earth is burned at His presence. How many times does this happen throughout history? I don't know. I would guess 7.
It'd be a simple guess. I'm going to go back and look at the pictures now of Mexico. This is one of the things, you know, were they stupid? No, of course they weren't stupid. I think that all of these are models of an eyeball, but look at how many different things people back in the day understood. These, I guess, are.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, cardinal numbers or something. And you can see this does not go straight down. It is, the earth is an eyeball. Totiacan. It, you know, they knew that the problem is humans argued about how to read the stars. Does that look fair to you, Faith? This guy's got a weight on his foot. That doesn't look fair. Dang, what are they doing here? So they got it all figured out, huh? I mean, and it's not like they only
Is that called the hyaloid gland in the eye?
I'm not sure. But I know that they have, these calendars are everywhere. There's not only the one sunstone, but they're all basically, it's not a mystery. They're saying it's Montezuma. It has his name. They can read these glyphs now. here's an overlay of where they found a sunstone, overlaid it where they found it on the island that they built to replicate a human eye. The Bible is enough. It teaches us that in Genesis, we had people decide to build a tower, read the stars, make their own thing like they wanted to do in spirit world before God made this creation and divided the water. They all had the same idea about we need a pyramid. God confused their languages, drove into different lands. They started building pyramids. They needed a sacrifice. They knew it was innocent. So they had different ways. Some put them children, high on cocaine or heroin up by a volcano and let them freeze. Others just, knew it was the heart and they ripped it out. They didn't know that when God said, I will provide myself a sacrifice, they put the comma in the wrong place. He's coming, the Spirit God who identifies as Father calls himself Son, so we can model through families, hopefully raise virgin young men and women who raise children that don't go off to fight the robot dogs. Instead, they live to live another day. One second here. They protect the weak. When they give them a drink of cold water, it doesn't have
Did you
fluoride
mute
in
me?
it. Yeah, I muted you
There
on
we go.
purpose there for a second. I'm going to mute you again. The idea is we stay pure, we run away. Now, we are being encompassed about. We are going to be saved by fire. They are going to think they're winning. There is another pandemic coming. They still believe in the jab. And the fact that some people don't and won't take it is enough to infuriate them when it comes right down to it. How are you not going to answer these questions? They're going to say, so you're saying God called you and chose you and you heard his voice? And I'd have to say, yes. But he didn't call me and I don't hear his voice. And I'll have to say, for now, he may still call you, but for now, you have not heard his voice. So you're better than me? No, this is by grace. It's not of him that willeth or him that runneth. It is that some people have their heart changed. And then slowly, as they're born again, they realize the things they used to love, they now hate. The things they used to hate, they now love, even if they were a gay or a murderer or a bank fraud person. It says, as which some were you. We are those who were loved while we were yet in our sins. This is all about forgiveness and the blood and the power to believe. And they do not have it. Some are made wise, the others are not. Many are called, few are chosen. There's going to be a rush to the door to say, didn't I cast out demons in your name? He never knew them. There's power in the name of Jesus. This is a flat earth nation. The golden age is past. You're confused because you have an orphan trained brain. Your parents and your grandparents were unwillingly in on it when they put you in school in front of a desk, no matter what country you're watching from. Your teacher had a globe up there, and they were all in on it together and they have you in fear of a fake atomic weapon. They have the hope for the mass that they're going to take a Noah's Ark to Mars and maybe you'll be among them if you transhumanize. It's not going to be like that. There are the called, the chosen, the elect, the predestined, and the adopted who realize that Jesus is our model as son. The men act like that. The women honor those men who do it because that's what they're called to do. Me and my friends are never going to tell you anything else because we know we're called and chosen to have your best interest at heart. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakamain. Adios, amigos. That's how I like to say goodbye from the border of southern Colorado and New Mexico. Try it.